Hello folks, and welcome to Cooking with Gourmet Gorman. So today I'm going to be making you a lovely prawn dhansak. The way that I like to do this is to make a spicy, zesty, lemony sauce with lentils and then add the prawns in at the end, because the prawns take very little time to cook. But before we begin, I always say it's really important when cooking to steady your hands first, so I always recommend a dose of this good hand steadying preparation. That's good. Anyway, let me show you the ingredients I'm going to use. So first of all, we've got a large onion, about 4 cloves of garlic, a piece of ginger about 1 inch in size, 2 lovely bird's eye red chillies, which will make it quite spicy, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon of mustard powder, a teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of fennel seeds and a teaspoon of mustard seeds. And then we've got about a cupful of lentils. I'm using mung lentils, which are yellow in colour, but you can equally as well use red lentils or even split chana peas. And I've got a couple of tablespoons of natural yoghurt, a lemon, preferably unwaxed, and some lovely king prawns. I'm using cooked prawns today because I couldn't get hold of any raw ones, but either is just as good. And finally, to garnish, I've got a nice bunch of fresh coriander. Now, before we begin, one very little known fact about seafood is that you get much better results if you talk to your food, or even sing to it, or sing to it. I've got Mr. Prawn right here, and I'd like to say to you, Mr. Prawn, that you are shrimply the best. Better than all the rest. You're shrimply the best. Best prawn I've ever met. And I know that you can be difficult sometimes. Oh yes, you can. But you know, that's why I'm easy. I'm easy like a Sunday prawning. That's why I'm Anyway, as you can see, there's lots of songs you can sing to your seafood, fish, prawns, crabs, anything like that, isn't there? And you know, if you want some more ideas, here they are now. Anyway, did you enjoy that wine, Mr. Prawn? Well, enough of that rubbish. Let's get on with the cooking. Okay, so I've heated up some oil in the pan. First thing I'm going to do is chuck in the mustard seeds and the fennel seeds. And they should start to spit and pop straight away. There they go. Just brown them off for a few seconds, see how they pop, and turn the heat down slightly, put your onions in. Now that the onions have been on for a minute or two and they've softened down, I'm going to add the ginger, the garlic and the chillies. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing, soften them down for a few minutes. Okay, the onions, garlic, ginger and red chillies are now all nice and cooked down, as you can see, and I'm going to add the spices in and fry them for a minute. So that's the cumin, turmeric and the mustard powder. Right, I've fried the spices down for no more than a minute really. Got to be careful not to let them burn. So what I'm going to do now is throw the lentils in, fry them in the spices, just stir them around, fry them for a minute or so. Now I'm going to stir the yoghurt in to the lentils and the spices. Okay, the yoghurt is stirred in well. Now I'm just going to add some water, some boiled water, just enough to cover the lentils, like so. Now add enough water to cover it and bring to a simmer, but it's important that you keep checking because you don't want it to all dry up. Before we put the lid on, I'm going to take half the lemon, cut it into quarters like so, and just put it in there and let it simmer with the lentils. Okay, the sauce has been simmering for about 45 minutes and I've kept an eye on the water and I covered it after about 10 or 15 minutes. But as you can see, it's quite thick now. The lentils are done, they've puffed up a bit. They're still slightly nutty, which is the way I like them. So what I'm going to do now is fish out the pieces of lemon. At this point I still haven't added any salt, and that's because the prawns are quite salty. So what I do is I add the prawns, stir them through, and then test for salt and then add salt to taste afterwards, because you really don't want it being too salty. Okay, so I'm going to add the prawns in, stir the prawns through. Now if you're using uncooked prawns, raw prawns, you want to put them in and just cook them until they go pink. If you're using cooked prawns like these, however, just cook them until they're heated through and nice and hot. But what you don't want to do is cook them so much that they start giving out water, because that'll just make the sauce very runny and the prawns will shrivel up and start to lose some of their juiciness and flavour. Okay, I'm just going to turn that up to heat the prawns through. While that's heating through, I'm going to squeeze in the rest of the lemon to help it along. Drop it in as well. So just squeeze in the rest of this lemon. Heat that all through, and then we're ready to eat. Okay, the prawns are nicely heated through now. So the only thing left to do is add some nice coriander. Just chuck it in like that. And give it a stir through, then we can serve out. So there it is, folks. There's my prawn dhansak served out with boiled rice and a nice glass of white wine. Thanks for watching. See you next time.